When we picture a genius, what do we see? Often it's someone brilliant working away in isolation. But is that a choice they make, or is it just what happens? Let's get into the solitude of the intellectual mind.
It's a real paradox, isn't it? You have a mind that's just built to make these incredible, complex connections with ideas, but then it can really struggle to connect with other people. Now, this isn't about being antisocial or anything like that. It's actually something much, much deeper. And we're going to break down exactly why this happens.
All right, so let's start with what some people call the genius paradox. We all know the stereotype, right? The isolated intellectual, the lonely genius. But is this isolation something they want? Is it just unavoidable? Or is there something else going on here entirely?
Okay, so one of the biggest reasons for this disconnect is that highly intelligent people, well, they often seem to operate on a completely different conversational frequency. Think of it like a radio. While most of the world is happily bopping along to the top 40 station, they're tuned in to some obscure niche broadcast. One that's super deep, complex, and full of nuance.
Look, most of our social interactions happen right there on the surface. We're talking about the weather, what you did over the weekend, the latest big thing in pop culture, and that stuff is essential. It's how we connect day to day. But for an intellectual mind, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real energy, that actual feeling of connection, it happens way down in the depths. They absolutely crave conversations about abstract ideas, big what-if scenarios, and just the messy, complex fabric of human nature itself.
And it is so crucial to understand this. This isn't about arrogance. It's not them thinking they're above small talk. It comes from a genuine, fundamental need for a different kind of conversation to feel truly connected and, frankly, to not feel completely drained.
And that need, it leads directly to what you could call the quest for depth. So it's not about rejecting people, it's about prioritizing the quality of a connection way, way over the sheer quantity of them. The goal isn't to have a massive circle of friends, it's about finding those rare few people that resonate on a much deeper level.
Oh man, this quote just captures it perfectly. There's this very specific kind of loneliness. It's that feeling when you're in a crowded room, chatter all around you, but you feel completely and utterly disconnected. For a lot of people, choosing to be by themselves is actually a defense against feeling that.
Let's think of our social lives kind of like a diet, right? The vast majority of it, maybe 70%, is made up of these superficial, quick interactions. Then you've got your acquaintances. But the real nutrient, the part that truly feeds an intellectual mind, is that tiny little slice at the top, deep intellectual intimacy. So when the very thing you need to feel connected is that rare, well, it's just natural that you'd end up with a much smaller, more carefully chosen circle.
So at the end of the day, it's not about racking up contacts or filling a social calendar. The real driving force here is the search for genuine, mutual understanding. That incredible feeling of finding another mind that just gets it. But this search for understanding often hits a pretty big wall, and that wall is perception. There's often this huge gap between the complex world firing away inside their head and how they just appear to others on the outside. This quote right here gets to the heart of that internal reality. Someone might look quiet, maybe a little reserved on the outside, but inside, their mind is on fire. It's analyzing, it's processing, it's connecting this huge web of ideas all at once. So while our brain is busy doing all this processing and analyzing, the way it looks to everyone else can be totally different. People see them as aloof or disinterested or maybe even judgmental. And that misunderstanding, it can create a barrier before a real connection even has a chance to get started. And so, yeah, a quiet mind deep in thought is very often mistaken for a cold heart. That intense, quiet concentration can be so easily misread as a lack of warmth, and it can unintentionally push people away. All of this brings us to a really crucial point. We have to reframe what it means to be alone. And to do that, we need to understand the huge, powerful difference between two words we tend to use interchangeably: solitude and loneliness.
Loneliness, that's a painful thing. It's involuntary. It's a draining, aching lack of connection. But solitude, that is something else entirely. Solitude is voluntary. It's a chosen space that can be incredibly recharging. It's where you find the quiet you need for deep thought, for creativity, for just figuring things out. And this, right here, is the powerful shift in perspective we need to have. Being alone isn't some kind of social failure.
For the intellectual mind, solitude is often a sanctuary. It's a necessary, productive space where their mind can finally stretch out and truly thrive.
So I want to leave you with this question. In a world that seems to prize constant social connection above everything else, maybe we've been focused on the wrong goal all along. Maybe the ultimate aim isn't to never be alone, but to find those few who can make us feel deeply understood.